The stage lights were dazzling, the cameras were rolling, and millions of viewers across the world tuned in to watch the Jennifer Hudson Show. It was supposed to be a casual, uplifting episode. The producers had lined up Prince Harry as the day's special guest, an appearance meant to be warm, insightful, and perhaps even healing, after months of headlines swirling around him and Meghan Markle. Jennifer Hudson, Grammy-winning singer, Oscar-winning actress, and now one of daytime television's most charismatic hosts, was known for her warm charm and no-nonsense authenticity. She had interviewed presidents, actors, and athletes, and always managed to bring out a side of her guests that viewers rarely saw. But on that fateful day, no one in the studio audience, or at home, could have predicted the fireworks that were about to erupt. From the moment Prince Harry stepped onto the stage, there was tension in the air. He waved politely, his smile strained, and sat across from Jennifer at the glossy studio table. The applause died down, replaced by an expectant hush. "Prince Harry," Jennifer began, her voice bright, though her eyes studied him keenly. "Welcome to the show. How are you feeling today?" Harry leaned back in his chair, adjusting his jacket. "I'm well, thank you. Always a pleasure to be in America, where people value freedom of expression." The audience clapped politely, but Jennifer caught something sharp in his tone. She leaned in. "Freedom of expression, huh? That's a powerful statement, but some say you've used that freedom to criticize your own family on a very public stage. Do you ever worry about crossing the line?" Harry's smile faltered. He hadn't expected the interview to dive straight into controversy. "I speak my truth," he said firmly. "For years, my family and the British press controlled the narrative. Now, I finally have the chance to tell my side." Jennifer nodded, but her eyebrows arched. "Your truth. But, Prince Harry, doesn't truth also come with responsibility? You've accused your own father and brother of neglect. You've said the institution is toxic. Some people admire your honesty, but others see it as betrayal. Which one is it really?" The studio audience let out a collective, "Ooh," sensing the heat rising. Harry shifted in his seat. His hands tightened on the armrests. "With respect, Jennifer, unless you've lived in my shoes, you can't understand what I've endured. The press hounded my mother until her death. I will not let history repeat itself with Meghan." Jennifer's smile tightened. Her voice dropped lower, calmer, but every syllable landed like a hammer. "I respect your pain, Prince Harry. Nobody questions the tragedy of what happened to Princess Diana. But you're not just a victim anymore, you're a grown man. And grown men take accountability for their choices. You walked away from royal duties, yet you keep profiting off the royal name. How do you reconcile that?" The crowd gasped. Harry blinked, visibly rattled. "I'm not profiting off my name. I'm using my platform to help others, to raise awareness of issues that matter: mental health, veterans, climate change." Jennifer leaned back slightly, her eyes narrowing. "But every Netflix special, every book, every interview, you cash those checks, don't you? And those checks come because of your royal title. If you truly wanted a normal life, wouldn't you give it all up and just be Harry?" A stunned silence fell over the room. The audience shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Harry's jaw clenched. He was not used to being challenged so directly on American television. "That's unfair," he snapped, his voice rising. "I've sacrificed more than anyone can imagine. I lost my country, my family, my friends. All for the sake of protecting my wife. And children. What would you have me do? Abandon them to the wolves?" Jennifer didn't flinch. She placed her palms flat on the table and leaned forward, her eyes locked on his. "I would have you own the fact that you can't play both sides. You can't call the palace toxic, criticize your family at every turn, and then still trade on the royal identity when it suits you. That's not bravery, that's convenience." The crowd erupted, some clapping, others murmuring in shock. One woman in the front row gasped aloud. Harry's face flushed red, his fists tightening. "Are you accusing me of being a fraud?" he demanded. Jennifer didn't blink. "I'm saying the world sees the contradiction. And I'm giving you the chance, right here, to answer it honestly." The cameras zoomed in on Prince Harry's face. Sweat glistened on his forehead. The silence stretched so long that even the cameramen held their breath. Finally, he leaned forward, his voice low but sharp. "You sit here in judgment of me, Jennifer, as if you know what it's like to be hunted by the press, to have your every move twisted into lies. Do you know what that feels like?" Jennifer's eyes flashed. Her reply came swift and cutting. Do you know what it's like to grow up on the south side of Chicago, to lose family to violence, to fight your way out of poverty with nothing but your voice? Don't talk to me about struggle, Harry. We all have scars. The difference is, I don't hide behind mine. The audience went wild, cheering, clapping, some even standing to their feet. The producers in the control room were scrambling, whispering frantically through headsets. Do we cut to commercial? Do we let this roll? But Jennifer wasn't finished. Her voice carried like a gospel preacher's, raw and unfiltered. You say you want to break free from the monarchy, but everything you do screams that you're still chained to it. You can't have freedom if you're still dragging the crown behind you. And until you face that truth, you'll never really be free. Harry's mouth opened, but no words came out. For the first time in a long time, Prince Harry looked defeated, stripped of his carefully rehearsed answers, left bare under the unrelenting light of Jennifer Hudson's truth. The audience roared. On social media, clips of the exchange were already going viral. Hashtags like #Hudson vs Harry, #Jennifer destroys Harry, and #Royal Showdown began trending within minutes. Jennifer leaned back at last, her eyes softening slightly. You came here to share your story, Prince Harry. And I respect that. But remember, your story isn't the only one that matters. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is stop talking and start listening. The cameras zoomed out, the band played a tense chord, and the host announced a commercial break. But everyone in the studio knew, what had just unfolded would be replayed around the world for weeks to come. The cameras cut to commercial, but the atmosphere inside the studio was electric. Audience members whispered, some in disbelief, others in admiration. Jennifer Hudson had just done what few dared. She had challenged Prince Harry directly, without sugarcoating, without bowing to royal status. Backstage, producers scrambled to manage the fallout. This is going to blow up online, one muttered, holding his headset. Another shook her head, half amused, half nervous. Jennifer just made history. That clip's already viral. Meanwhile, Prince Harry sat rigid in his chair, his jaw tight, his knuckles white. He had come expecting a sympathetic conversation, the kind of softball questions he'd grown accustomed to in American media. Instead, he had been confronted with piercing honesty, and it stung. Jennifer returned from the break, her smile back on, but the studio could feel the shift. The power dynamic had changed. The audience wasn't leaning toward Harry anymore, they were leaning toward her. Welcome back, Jennifer said smoothly, looking into the camera. We're here with Prince Harry, having a very honest, very real conversation. Harry forced a smile, but his eyes betrayed the storm inside. He straightened his posture and spoke carefully, as though each word was a fragile glass piece he couldn't afford to drop. I respect your perspective, Jennifer, he said, his voice lower now. And I know people will judge me no matter what I do. But I've chosen a path where I can protect my family and still use my voice for good. Jennifer nodded politely, but she didn't let him off the hook. That's fair, Harry. But just know, your actions speak louder than your interviews. If you want people to see your sincerity, you've got to live it, not just talk about it. The audience erupted into applause again. Harry's lips tightened, but he didn't respond. The interview wrapped up shortly after, but by then, the story had already left the studio and entered the bloodstream of global media. The internet explosion. Within an hour, the exchange dominated Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Clips of Jennifer saying, "You can't call the palace toxic and still trade on the royal identity," had been shared millions of times. Comment sections were flooded. Jennifer Hudson just said what the whole world's been thinking. Hands clapping, hands clapping, hands clapping. Harry wasn't ready for a real interviewer. She ended him in 3 sentences. This is the most uncomfortable TV moment since Oprah and Meghan. Memes exploded too. Harry's stunned face became the new reaction image. One meme showed him sitting silently while Jennifer's quote was overlaid in bold letters, "Stop dragging the crown if you want freedom." By nightfall, hashtags like #Hudson destroys Harry and #Royal Reality Check were trending across continents. Back in Montecito. When Harry returned to California, Meghan Markle was waiting. She had been watching the interview live from their home. The tension in the house was thick as Harry walked in. Meghan's arms were crossed, her eyes sharp. "Harry, what happened?" she asked. "That wasn't supposed to be an attack." Why didn't you push back harder? Harry threw his jacket onto a chair, his frustration boiling over. I didn't expect her to come at me like that, Meghan. It was supposed to be about our projects, not your contradictions. Meghan cut in. Harry froze. Meghan's tone was calm but cutting, echoing Jennifer's words. Face it, Harry, she continued, people see the contradictions. We say we want privacy, but then we do documentaries. We say we want freedom, but we keep the titles. Maybe Jennifer wasn't wrong. Harry's face tightened. So now you're taking her side. Meghan sighed, softer this time. I'm saying we need to think. People are tired of us being victims in every story. If Jennifer Hudson, a beloved American star, calls us out, maybe it's time we change the strategy. Harry ran a hand through his hair, his frustration colliding with doubt. So what, Meghan? We just stop speaking our truth. No, Meghan replied firmly. We start living it. The media frenzy. In Britain, newspapers splashed the story across front pages. The Daily Mail ran the headline, Harry humiliated, Jennifer Hudson says what royals won't. The Times called it a television bloodbath. Talk radio buzzed with callers, many chuckling at the irony. An American singer had done what the royal family never could, publicly dismantle Harry's narrative. Meanwhile, in America, daytime talk shows dissected the moment frame by frame. Clips of Jennifer's firm voice and Harry's stunned silence were replayed endlessly. Even late-night comedians joined in, with one quipping, Jennifer Hudson didn't just interview Harry, she performed vocal surgery. Jennifer Hudson responds. The next day, Jennifer addressed the controversy on her show. Now y'all know me, she said with a smile. I don't go out of my way to embarrass anybody. But I believe in truth. If you come on this show, I'm gonna ask the real questions. And if you can't handle the real questions, then maybe you're not ready to be real. The audience roared with applause. Jennifer's reputation as a fearless interviewer soared overnight. Harry's struggle. For Harry, the fallout was harder. Paparazzi caught him looking grim during a solo outing in Los Angeles. Headlines suggested he was shaken and humiliated. Behind closed doors, he confided in a friend, it felt like the whole world was laughing at me. I wanted to fight back, but she cut right through me. His friend replied gently, maybe it's time you stop fighting, Harry. Maybe it's time you just listen. The words haunted him. Jennifer had said the same thing. Meghan had echoed it. Could the world really be right, and he, the prince who had fought against an empire, be the one who was wrong? A turning point. Weeks later, Harry quietly announced he would step back from public interviews for a while. Instead, he focused on veteran charities and mental health projects, making fewer personal references to his family. The change didn't erase all criticism, but it did begin to shift the narrative. Jennifer Hudson's confrontation remained a cultural milestone, a moment when celebrity power and royal power clashed live on air, and the singer's unshakable truth cut sharper than a crown jewel. For Harry, it became a lesson carved into memory. No matter how far you run, truth has a way of finding you. And sometimes, it comes with a microphone in Jennifer Hudson's hand.